Welcome all of you to this Good Friday service of worship where we gather at noon to remember Jesus' death on the cross and to mark the 7 last words he spoke before he took his final breath. Today is a day for us to grieve and to remember, to mourn and to reflect, to think about all the ways in which we fall short in our efforts to follow Jesus Christ as disciples. And today is a day for us to also remember and to grieve for the fact that we continue to crucify our sisters and brothers in the world in so many ways. So in the midst of our brokenness, both individual and personal and corporate and communal, let us gather to remember and to worship our God. Let us read responsively this afternoon's opening litany. So there it is, the ugly shape of beautiful wood, rough-hewn by human hands. Lord, where are you now? And there it is, a tight-shut tomb, a borrowed grave sealed with stone and silence. Lord, where are you now? And there it is, your broken body shrouded in linen, clothed in darkness. Lord, where are you now? And somewhere stand your people crying, though tired of crying, their eyes sore and bloodshot. They will not sleep tonight. Lord, where are you now? And out in the streets, the children have stopped their playing. The sound of music has gone sour. Even the unlikely people fidget and wonder. Lord, where are you now? And here we are saying, if only, murmuring, surely not, counting the cost for once of our carelessness and our lovelessness. Lord, where are you now? Trying so vainly to gain all, we've bartered you away in the transaction. We have lost the one who found us. Now with the Peters and the Marys we wait, for only you can tell whether we are worth rising for. Please be seated. The first word from the Gospel according to Luke. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing. And the people stood by watching, but the leaders scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself, if he is the Messiah of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews." From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani." That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "This man is calling for Elijah." At once, one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him." Meanwhile, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home. After this, when Jesus knew that all was now finished, he said, in order to fulfill the scripture, I am thirsty. A jar full of sour wine was standing there, so they put a sponge full of the wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth. One of the criminals who were hanged there kept deriding him and saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he replied, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." When Jesus had received the wine, he said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, while the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. When the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God and said, "Certainly this man was innocent." And when all the crowds who had gathered there for this spectacle saw what had taken place, they returned home beating their breasts. But all his acquaintances, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching these things. Whether you choose to stay for a time or go forth from this sanctuary, I invite you to keep vigil with Jesus Christ from noon until 3 or as long as you can muster this day. Carry Jesus with you in your heart and mind and spirit, and go in peace.